Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful stories ever told. It's an ancient dialogue that asks some of the biggest questions you can imagine. We're talking about a boy, a really hollow promise, and a conversation with death itself that, believe it or not, reveals the secret to a meaningful life. Okay, let's get into this. So just think about it for a second. If you had one question, just one, for the god of death, what would it be? Would you ask for wealth, a longer life? Well, our story is about a young boy who gets that exact chance. And his choice? Wow. It reveals a kind of wisdom that has echoed through the centuries.
So, you're probably wondering, how does a young boy end up at death's door in the first place? Well, it all starts with this hollow promise. His father, a man named Vajasravasa, is performing this huge, grand ceremony where he's supposed to give away everything he owns. But his son, Nachiketa, is watching, and he sees that this sacred ritual, it's all a lie.
Yeah, the promise was to give away all his possessions. But the gifts he's giving? They're basically just for show. He's handing over these old, sick cows that are completely useless. They can't give milk, they can't have calves, they're done. And Nachiketa, who's this really faithful kid, he sees this hypocrisy. He knows that a ritual without meaning leads nowhere good, and he just can't stand by and watch. Nachiketa, seeing his dad's flawed sacrifice, realizes, hey, I'm one of his possessions too. So he asks him, "To whom will you give me?" He asks once. Silence. He asks again. Nothing. The third time, his father, totally fed up, just snaps. And, with those words, this young boy's journey to the underworld begins, all because of an empty promise and a flash of anger.
So when Nachiketa gets to the home of Yama, the god of death, Yama's not even there. The boy has to wait for 3 whole days. To make up for being such a bad host, Yama grants him 3 wishes, 3 boons. For his final wish, Nachiketa asks about the ultimate mystery, what happens after we die. But Yama doesn't just answer, nope. Instead, he tests the boy to see if he's even ready for the truth.
Yama offers him the whole shebang. We're talking the ultimate package of worldly success. A long, long life, more money than he could ever spend, power, and every single pleasure you can imagine. This isn't just a generous offer, though. It's a test. It's all designed to distract him from what really matters.
And this right here is where Nachiketa shows he's not just some ordinary kid. He looks at this incredible offer and says no. He gets something really profound. All of these things are temporary. They're here today, gone tomorrow. He even says they just wear you out. They weaken you. He refuses to trade real knowledge for a quick fix of pleasure. He's not interested in distractions. He wants the truth.
Yama is seriously impressed. He explains that Nachiketa has just stumbled upon the 2 fundamental paths of life. First, there's Preya, the pleasant path. You know, it's easy, it's tempting, it's full of instant gratification, but in the end, it just leads to more suffering. And then there's Shreya, the good path. This is the harder road, the path of wisdom and self-control, but it's the one that leads to real freedom. Yama says the wise always choose Shreya, and Nachiketa's just proved he's one of the wise.
Okay, so Nachiketa's passed the test. Now he's ready for the real lesson. And to explain the secret of our inner world, how to actually navigate it, Yama uses this brilliant and powerful metaphor, the parable of the cherry.
All right, so Yama says, to understand yourself, you got to picture your whole being as a chariot. Now, the most important part is the passenger inside, the rider. This is the Atman, your true self. It's not driving, it's not the vehicle, it's the silent, unchanging witness that's just along for the ride, experiencing the journey of life. It's the core of who you really are.
And that self, that rider, is traveling in a chariot. The chariot is your body. It's pretty straightforward, right? It's the physical hardware, the vessel that carries you through the world. It gets you from point A to point B, but it has no idea where it's going. For that, you need a driver. And this is the crucial part. The charioteer, the one driving, is your intellect, your buddhi. This is your ability to reason, to tell right from wrong, to make wise decisions. The intellect is supposed to be in charge, holding the reins and steering this whole operation with purpose, but it doesn't work alone.
The reins in the driver's hands, that's your mind, your manas. The mind is the link between the driver's intention and the wild power of the horses. But we all know what the mind is like, right? It can be totally chaotic, full of desires, doubts, nonstop chatter. If your grip on those reins is weak, the whole thing goes off the rails.
And finally, what are the reins trying to control? The horses. And the horses are your five senses. Think of them as these incredibly powerful animals, just bursting with energy, and they are constantly getting pulled in every direction by the sights, sounds, and everything else in the world. They've got the horsepower for sure, but they have no direction of their own.
So here's the bottom line from Yama. If your charioteer, your intellect, is untrained and undisciplined, then the horses, your senses, are just going to run wild, chasing after every little thing that looks good. The whole chariot is going to crash and burn. But if the intellect is wise and firm, it can skillfully guide the senses, control the mind, and steer the body towards its real destination, freedom.
Now, even before this whole journey, back when he was trying to get his father to actually follow through on his promise, Nachiketa said something that showed this incredible acceptance of mortality. He used this simple but really deep metaphor for what life is all about.
I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. What an amazing line. There's no fear in it, no desperation. It's just a calm observation of how things work. He's basically telling his father to look around, at nature, at their ancestors. Life follows a pattern, a cycle.
And that's the core idea here. For Nachiketa, death isn't some terrifying final stop. It's just a natural part of a cycle. You know, just like corn grows, ripens, gets harvested, and then is born again from a new seed, so too does human life. It's a perspective that kind of takes the sting out of mortality and puts our own lives into this much bigger, eternal rhythm.
And that brings us right to the heart of what Nachiketa really won from death. It wasn't about cheating death or getting a longer life. It was a complete shift in perspective, a deep, profound understanding of who he truly is. So this is the main takeaway. The whole spiritual journey, the entire point of this chariot parable, is to stop identifying with the temporary parts, the chariot, the horses, the reins, and to realize that you are the eternal passenger. You're the rider. Real freedom, real immortality isn't about making the chariot last forever. It's about knowing you are the rider.
And this ancient story leaves us with a very modern and very personal question. You're on this journey right now. Your intellect is the charioteer, your mind is holding the reins, and your senses are the horses. So, where are you telling it to go? Are you on the path of the pleasant, or are you on the path of the good?